Okay guys, welcome to my first YouTube video. With comments at least. This is a knife review, and to quote my favorite YouTuber that does knife reviews, hello knife people, that's Virtual Vice. This is my everyday carry and was my grail knife for a long time, for about maybe over a year. This is the Maserin Atti 389. It's a gentleman's folder. Comes in green burl and a couple other different handle colors. The steel on it is S35VN, and I'd like to talk a little bit about that steel. But as you can see, this is a nice gentleman's folder. The blade length is listed at, well, I don't have the blade length listed, but let's do a measurement here. The blade length measures out to about 70 centimeters, which in American is about 2.75 inches. And as a everyday carry, that worked pretty good for me for a while. But I'm starting to want to cut things like food in the kitchen with my everyday carry when I don't want to use a full kitchen knife. And 2.75 inches is just starting to get a little bit too short for me. I'm looking for something a little over 3 inches. But this is definitely the gentleman's style. You can see the nice green burl handle on there. The background is green, so it might be blending in a little bit. Now, one thing about the green burl handle on the website, they do a really good job marketing it, and they show that green burl as this bright, brilliant, fluorescent green. And when I got it, I was a little disappointed in the handle. It was a little less bright green and brilliant. It's more dull and not so fluorescent green, which kind of disappointed me. But what I did was I took some steel wool, or actually I didn't use steel wool. I used Danish oil and cotton to put a couple layers of Danish oil on there, and then rubbed it to kind of it brought the grain of the wood out, gave it a better shine, and just kind of started to look better overall. You can see, I don't know if you can see on this camera or not, but the liner, it's a liner lock knife, and the liners are, they look like they're filed. They're actually stamped, but it has that custom look of a filed knife. There's some of that same pattern on the back here. It's got a thumb stud, and it works pretty good. It's pretty easy to reach that thumb stud. Some of the Maserin knives, they're kind of hard to get to the thumb stud, it looks like, from the pictures on the website. But this one, or sometimes they're a nail nick, but this one's pretty easy to use. There's no blade play on it. The scales have never loosened up, which is amazing, because there's just two little flathead screws holding them on, and I've cleaned this and sharpened it and got it wet, and nothing's happened. So those scales are nice and stabilized. Now, let's get to the blade steel on it. This is S35VN. I'm not a metallurgist, but S35VN is one of the newer super steels. I was watching a video of, was it Chris Reeve, saying that he worked with Crucible a little bit to develop that steel. The only thing I know about it is that it's a modification of S30V, and it fits around the S90V blade steel also. But it's supposed to hold the edge a little bit longer, but also be easier to sharpen. And I can tell you, it's not that easy to sharpen. The first time I used this knife for a long time, and I didn't really have it. I mean, the factory edge stayed for a really long time. Then I was just cutting some steak on a paper plate, and all of a sudden the edge rolled over or something. I had to take it and get it professionally sharpened. And they didn't do that great of a job, and they kind of nicked my, you won't be able to see this on camera, but they nicked the thumb stud because of the geometry of the edge. If you're sharpening it properly, it goes right across the thumb stud, so the thumb stud's nicked, and I actually had problems sharpening that myself. What I did is I invested in some Japanese water stones, King 1000 and 6000, and I invested in a leather strop also. I had a hell of a time sharpening this steel. I'm starting to not be a fan of the stainless super steels. At first I couldn't even get the edge right, but I was learning, so maybe I didn't have my angles right or something, but the edge wouldn't even last more than a couple days, and I use this knife for everything. So I've gotten better at it, but to be honest, I'm just kind of tired. I have high carbon blade steels that sharpen way easier than this, and I don't need stainless. I like the patina on a high carbon steel also, so the stainless part doesn't bother me. I just want a good performing steel, and I don't care if it's stainless or not, and it needs to be easy to sharpen because I use this thing for everything, and it's just not easy to sharpen. So this was my Grail knife. I looked at lots and lots of knives, but I'm getting over the belly on certain blades. I don't use the belly for anything. I'm not a hunter. I don't skin anything. But this knife is really nice. It's from Maserin, is an Italian company, and I don't know if I'm saying that right. Some people say Maserin, but I call it Maserin, and this is the Atti. I believe that's the person who designed it. It's the 389 model. They're listing the S35VN at a Rockwell hardness of 60, which is pretty good. And I mean, for a stainless steel, that's a pretty good Rockwell for performance. But I'll tell you what, man, it's just really hard for me to sharpen. So anyway, my hands, I've got kind of fat fingers. I have a glove size large hand, and this fits pretty well. All my fingers are engaged on the handle. The handle's not too small. The blade length to handle ratio is pretty good. This does not have a clip, and I actually like it that way. I've lost a lot of pocket knives with clips, so I'm done with clips. So what I do, let me show you here how I carry this. This is a Benchmade nylon sheath, and it's kind of all bent up because it gets well used. It goes on my belt in vertical carry. So I literally just fold up the knife one-handed while this is on my belt, pop it in. Now, this is not the right sheath for this knife. This sheath is actually a little big. That's why it's kind of all, folded up and stuff. But I've never lost it. I've ridden motorcycles with it, and it's never gone anywhere. I think that's it for my review of this knife. If you like this video, go ahead and click like. Subscribe to my channel. I'll probably be making more knife reviews in the near future. And comment if you have any suggestions on how I can improve. This is, like I said, this is my first video, so let me know how I'm doing. Thanks, guys.